Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. Since this past week, the most recent movie in the Evil Dead series came out, we're doing the entire Evil Dead series. So today we are doing the 1992 horror comedy Army of Darkness. Here is your trivia question for today. What is the name of the store Ash Williams works for at the end of the movie? And what is their slogan? The answer will be at the end of this video. Now, in the last film, we left Ash Williams in the middle of a cabin in the woods, facing off against a great evil. As he was about to die, some magic words were said, and the creature was banished. Unfortunately, a portal opened, and it sucked Ash and his car both into the portal. And he and the Delta fell from the sky, apparently into an ancient medieval era, where some knights discovered him. They thought he was a good friend of their enemy, Duke Henry the Red. Now, unfortunately, they imprisoned him and brought him to a pit, where they tossed him in and expected him to die, facing off against Deadites. But he defeated them, and they realized he was the chosen one. Now Ash has been tasked with going on a quest to retrieve the Necronomicon, bring it back, and help save the day. And after a bit of an upgrade to his hand, he headed off on his journey to go find the book. And of course, he runs into a lot of issues along the way, including finding 3 Necronomicons instead of 1. Can Ash find the right book and save the world against the army of darkness? Sam Raimi had been working on this concept for quite some time. Originally, the whole plot of Army of Darkness was going to be the story for Evil Dead 2, but he decided to push that back for one more movie. Also, Army of Darkness at one point was going to be called The Medieval Dead. The original story for Army of Darkness had the first half of the movie pretty much retelling Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. This is why they brought in Bridget Fonda to actually play the character of Linda. She was originally going to have a much larger role. Now, there was actually a point where Charles Napier was also going to be involved with the film, as he was going to be Ash's boss at the store that he worked at. Famous composer Danny Elfman actually has 2 connections to this movie. Number one, he actually composed the music for the March of the Dead sequence, where all of the army is marching together and you can hear the music in the background. The other connection is he's actually married to Bridget Fonda, who played Linda in this movie. There's also an interesting connection to the 1990 remake Night of the Living Dead. For instance, 2 of the actors, the one who played Barbara and the one who played Johnny, are both in this movie. Bill Moseley, who played Johnny, also plays the captain of the Deadites in this movie. And Patricia Tallman, who played Barbara, also plays the Deadite witch in this movie. Ted Raimi, who's been connected to the film since the very beginning, plays 4 separate characters, and he's also the voice of most of the skeletons throughout the movie, which, by the way, you really have to listen carefully. Some of the lines that they have are absolutely hilarious. I die laughing every time I hear, "Let's get the hell out of here!" Embeth Davidtz does play Sheila in this movie, but that role almost went to Tracy Lords. There are some really nice references in this movie as well. For instance, in the trunk of the Delta, you can actually see a copy of a Fangoria magazine, which is Sam Raimi's thank you to Fangoria for doing such a great article on the original Evil Dead. There's a moment in this film where an eyeball and then an entire head emerges from Ash's shoulder. This is actually a direct reference to the Japanese movie The Manster. The magic words in this movie are definitely a reference to The Day the Earth Stood Still. In that film, you have these words, Klaatu, Barada, Nikto. In this film, they're Klaatu, Varada, Nikto. When Evil Ash is trying to command his troops at one point to go forward, he makes this noise, which is actually a reference to Xena the Warrior Princess. And there are a lot of connections to Xena when it comes to the Evil Dead series. For instance, Lucy Lawless is actually married to Rob Tappert, who's been involved in the series from the very beginning. Sam Raimi is actually a producer for that television series, and both Bruce Campbell and Ted Raimi have appeared on Xena multiple times. And of course, one of the best parts about this movie is it's so quotable. I can't tell you how often I've said the lines, "This is my boomstick," or "groovy," or even "Gimme some sugar, baby." And that last line actually was an impromptu line by Sam Raimi, who felt it would work really well in the scene. Bruce Campbell actually hated the line. I absolutely love Army of Darkness. It's a fun, high fantasy comedy horror movie that I think deserves, at the very least, a 4 out of 5. Now, here is the answer to the trivia question from the beginning of the episode. What is the name of the store Ash Williams works for at the end of the movie? And what is their slogan? In the film, Ash works at the store S-Mart, and their slogan is Shop Smart, Shop S-Mart. Now, the end of the movie originally was not going to be Ash back at being at S-Mart. Originally, it was going to be Ash going into the future and fighting Deadites with robots. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. If there is a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments. And as always, like, comment, share, and subscribe.